Morning, guys. Today, Conor McGregor shares with us another piece of advice for us to remember in everything we do, and that is think outside the box. Conor McGregor shares with us his experience when he was in the gym, training, looking for the right coach, the right mentor to help him with his fighting style. And he recalls in his life being frustrated because every gym he went to, they would want him to do a punch a certain way, a kick a certain way, and try to fit into a certain style. And this he knew deep down inside wasn't the way of a human being. He knew for himself, like everyone else, that we have our own unique style and that everything leads to that unique style. So when he found a coach that encouraged him to do different things and to do different movements, he knew that he had found his place. So remember, you got to think outside the box. Think about where you can apply that today, wherever you are. Have a great morning, everyone. Take control of your mind the way you do your breathing. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Feeling the power of you controlling your own breathing. The same way you control your mind. One breath at a time, one thought at a time.
Bassini losing out to Iniesta. Now Lionel Messi, 2-0.
The first time you work with an AI, it feels like a miracle. You type a question and an answer appears, fast, fluent, often brilliant. For a moment, it feels like the future arrived quietly and decided to be helpful. Then you close the tab, and the next day, you open it again, and you realize something that's hard to unsee once you notice it. Most AI is still just a moment, a spark, a single interaction that doesn't quite carry forward into the lived reality of how work actually happens. Want to be the winner of the AI age and a first mover? Transform your skills with real AI knowledge today in our AI labs. We go way beyond what I can cover in a 10-minute video. Specific frameworks, detailed training programs, and step-by-step systems for building a career in the AI economy. The AI revolution is creating the biggest job market transformation in history. The question isn't whether this will happen, it's already happening. Will you be positioned to benefit from it? Inside the labs, learn the exact systems my team and I are implementing right now that are delivering massive results for real businesses, including our own marketing at First Movers. Start your journey by walking through a customized pathway powered by AI. For a fraction of the price of what this level of coaching and live training should go for, I'm giving it all to you. Join us inside and learn more about the labs at firstmovers.ai/labs. What I'm about to show you isn't hype. It's the quiet revolution happening right now that separates companies building the future from those still treating AI like a fancy search bar, because real work isn't one question. It's not even 10 questions. Real work is a thread you pull on over days and weeks. It's the follow-up that happens when you're busy. It's the reminder you meant to send. It's the pattern that becomes obvious only after you've seen it 10 times. It's the small decisions that only make sense when you remember what happened last month and the month before that and why you chose what you chose. You ask ChatGPT something brilliant today, tomorrow you ask it again. and it has zero memory of yesterday's conversation, zero context, zero continuity. That's the gap between AI assistance and AI agency. And Deep Agent just closed that gap with two features that sound boring but are actually revolutionary: scheduled tasks and what users are calling infinite memory. Not infinite in the magical sense, infinite in the way a capable teammate feels infinite, because they don't reset to zero every time you speak. They keep continuity, they carry context, they remember what matters, and they keep moving. And once an agent can do that, once it can reliably show up again later and bring its accumulated understanding with it, the center of gravity shifts. You stop thinking of AI as a search bar with charisma. You start thinking of it as something closer to an operator, an entity that can run loops, maintain commitments, and compound competence over time. That compounding is where this story gets interesting. Not because it's flashy, but because it's foundational. Let me show you what I mean. Start with something mundane that reveals everything. Everyone knows what should happen with invoice follow-ups. An invoice goes out, a due date passes, a reminder is sent, a conversation is tracked, and the payment arrives. Nothing about this is intellectually hard, but it's also exactly the kind of task that falls apart in reality, because the burden isn't intelligence, it's persistence. It's remembering that this specific customer prefers a gentle nudge instead of a formal demand. It's noticing that last time they paid late, there was a reason and a promise. It's tracking whether your last message was delivered, whether it was acknowledged, whether it should be escalated, whether it should wait. When you put scheduled tasks into the hands of an agent with memory, that entire domain changes. The agent doesn't need to be reminded to remember. It doesn't need a manager to ask, did we follow up? It simply wakes up on schedule, checks what's due, checks what's been said before, and continues the thread as if it never left the room. In other words, it behaves like a responsible adult. And that sounds almost too basic to celebrate until you realize how much of the economy is powered by exactly that kind of reliability. Now widen the lens to sales outreach. If there's one place where one-off brilliance fails, it's sales. Sales is not a great email. It's not even a great pitch. Sales is a sequence, the right message, delivered with the right timing, adapted to the right response, repeated consistently enough that trust has a chance to form. Sales also has a problem that most tools avoid acknowledging. A pipeline isn't just data, it's memory. A pipeline is what you know about someone, what they've already heard, what they care about, what they objected to, what you promised, and what you still owe them. When that memory fragments across inboxes, CRM notes, Slack threads, and half-remembered conversations, outreach becomes noisy at best and self-sabotaging at worst. Scheduled tasks give Deep Agent a cadence, daily check-ins, weekly sequences, follow-ups that occur whether you feel like doing them or not. But cadence alone isn't enough. A spam bot also has cadence. The difference is memory, the ability to treat each lead as a continuing story rather than a fresh target each day. With persistent memory, the outreach agent isn't just sending, it's contextualizing. It remembers that this prospect asked about pricing last week, that they didn't respond to the technical deep dive, but did respond to the customer story.
Good afternoon, guys. Thinking outside the box is so challenging for us because for most of us, we are pretty much designed, have an environment that's designed as if it was a box for us. And the one thing that's helped me, and I want you to remember this, is that you are unlimited through the power of your mind. You have to remember that there is nothing about you that is intended to be contained in a box. Now, you may have to accept certain conditions the way they are right now, but I want you to remember your most incredible power. It's your belief in yourself, and then it's your determination, your choice to never give up on remembering your unlimited potential. And every moment you have, every experience you have right now where you are, remember, you're the one that has to tap into that unlimited power. And you can. Believe it and never give up on it. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
It's the pace of David Hill leading on Messi. Steadies himself and
that their main concern is implementation time, that their tone is direct, and they dislike fluff. Over repeated runs, the agent becomes less like a template machine and more like a sales operator who's quietly learning your market, because it is. This is where the phrase infinite memory starts to make emotional sense. Not because the system can literally remember everything forever without limits, but because the experience for the user shifts. You stop having to reload the context again and again. The agent carries it for you. And that feels like a new kind of leverage. Then comes the third domain, where memory isn't just convenient, it's the whole point: sentiment analysis. Most organizations can generate a report. They can pull reviews, scrape comments, tally ratings, and sort complaints into categories. They can produce a snapshot of what customers said last week, but snapshots aren't understanding. Understanding is longitudinal. It's knowing what changed, when it changed, why it changed, and what it tends to predict. Sentiment in e-commerce is a living thing. A product update alters the language people use. A shipping issue creates a wave of anger that fades or becomes a reputation. A competitor's launch changes what customers compare you to. If you treat sentiment analysis as a one-time project, you keep rediscovering the same truths and missing the slow turns that matter most. This is exactly what scheduled tasks and memory make possible. Not a report, but a relationship with the data. The agent can return on schedule, gather new signals, compare them against what it saw before, and refine its model of what your customers are experiencing. Over time, it develops something closer to instinct. It can tell you not just what people are saying, but what they're starting to say more often, what complaints are morphing, what delight is becoming a pattern, what your team should pay attention to before it becomes a crisis. That's not a small upgrade. That's a change in the nature of organizational awareness. It's like hiring an analyst who never forgets the last quarter, never loses a dashboard, never stops watching the stream. Except now that analyst is an agent that can actually do something with what it learns on a schedule without needing you to push it. Finally, there's the most revealing piece: the adaptive intelligence agent. Because the thing that separates a static automation from a genuine agent isn't that it can execute steps. It's that it can adapt its steps. This is where continuity becomes more than convenience. Adaptation requires a memory of prior outcomes. It requires the ability to notice that a strategy worked or didn't, and to carry that lesson forward. It requires persistence, not only in action, but in improvement. An adaptive agent is not just checking boxes. It's calibrating. It's developing a sense of what works here, and that here matters. Every company is different. Every team has quirks. Every market has a language. Every operator has preferences. The dream of AI wasn't simply an assistant that could do generic tasks. The dream was something that could fit, something that could learn the contours of your world and act with increasing alignment to it. When you pair scheduled tasks with memory, you create the conditions for that fit to emerge. Each scheduled run is not a reset. It's another lap around the track. Each lap produces feedback. Each feedback updates the agent's approach. Over time, the agent's behavior stops feeling like a string of clever outputs and starts feeling like a consistent style. Your style, or the style you asked for, expressed reliably. See the pattern? These 4 examples tell a coherent story, even though their use cases are different. Invoice follow-up shows persistence as responsibility, the agent that doesn't forget to close loops. Sales outreach shows persistence as momentum, the agent that maintains relationships and sequences without dropping context. Sentiment analysis shows persistence as awareness, the agent that watches a changing world and updates its understanding. Adaptive intelligence shows persistence as improvement, the agent that learns what works and becomes more effective over time. Put differently, they're all the same capability wearing different clothes. The capability is continuity, and continuity is what pushes AI from being reactive towards being proactive. Reactive systems wait for you to ask. Proactive systems show up because something is due. Reactive systems treat each prompt as a new beginning. Proactive systems treat each interaction as the next chapter. Once you feel that difference, it's hard to go back, because the real bottleneck in modern knowledge work isn't thinking, it's carrying the context, carrying the obligation, carrying the details, carrying the follow-through. People burn out not because they can't generate ideas, but because they're forced to be the glue that holds every process together. Remembering what's pending, what's blocked, what's late, what's promised, what's fragile. Scheduled tasks move that glue into the agent. Memory makes the glue strong enough to hold. And then something subtle happens. You start delegating differently. Instead of saying, well, help me write this, you say, own this thread. Instead of saying, summarize this, you say, monitor this and keep me updated. Instead of saying, remind me, you say, handle it when it's time. That shift from assistance to ownership is the shift from tools to agents. And agents are the road we're on when we talk about AGI, whether we say the acronym out loud or not. Will scheduled tasks and infinite feeling memory by themselves produce AGI? Of course not. But they do something arguably more important than another benchmark win. They change the relationship between humans and machines in the flow of work. They introduce time as a first-class dimension. They turn intelligence into a process, not an event. They let an agent become more than a clever respondent. They let it become a participant. Now, before you rush out to implement any of this, we need to talk about something critical that almost everyone is ignoring: security. You may have heard about Claudebot, recently renamed Moltbot after Anthropic threatened legal action over the name. It's a tool that gives AI agents deep control over your Mac computer. Sounds powerful, right? It is. And that's exactly the problem. Here's what most people don't understand. Moltbot requires installation directly on your Mac. It gets system-level access. And if you're not building with security protocols from day one, if you're just excited about what it can do and you install it without thinking, you're creating a massive vulnerability in your business. Think about what you're actually doing. You're giving an AI agent the keys to your computer, your files, your accounts, your email, your business data, your customer information, everything. And most people are setting this up without understanding the risks. This isn't fear-mongering. This is basic operational security. When you grant system-level access to any software, you need to understand what you're granting and why. And with AI agents that can take autonomous actions, the stakes are even higher.
Good evening, guys. How did it go today? Were you able to think outside the box, even for a moment? Well, I want to share with you a personal example. And this says everything about us as human beings. I have the pleasure and good grace of working with children every day. And I can tell you, working with the younger ones, and this is how we all were, don't ever forget this, when they come into that gym, they are free, happy, and excited. There is no way that anyone is going to contain them in a box for long, because their spirit is free. It's unlimited. It has not been conditioned by life circumstances. And that is how we are. I want us to remember that. We are that kid still inside. And so to think outside the box, that is what you're supposed to do. That is what you're designed to do. So never forget that. always try and think beyond where you are right now. Have a great evening, everyone.
David Beer, referee tries to give the advantage. Now Messi in a one-on-one situation. Steps on the gas, flips it in. It was as if the goalkeeper and the defender were not there. It's
Here's what you need to know if you're considering tools like Moltbot. First, understand exactly what permissions you're granting. These agents aren't just reading files. They can execute commands, move data, interact with systems, send messages, make changes. Second, build with security protocols from the start. Don't add security later as an afterthought. Design it in from day one. That means access controls, audit logs, permission boundaries, and clear constraints on what the agent can and cannot do. Third, be aware that this technology is evolving faster than the security frameworks around it. The capabilities are outpacing the best practices, which means you need to be extra careful about how you deploy. The good news is that better approaches are coming. Abacus is developing a Slack and What's app-based approach to deep agent that solves this problem. Message-based control without deep system access. You send a message, the agent acts, you maintain control, but that's still 2 to 3 weeks out. In the meantime, if you're using tools like Moltbot, you need to treat it like you would any system-level access, with extreme caution, clear protocols, and a security-first mindset. The power of AI agents is real. The capabilities I just showed you are real. But power without security isn't an advantage. It's just risk wearing a different mask. Here's what I want you to understand. Deep Agent isn't just adding features to a product. It's fundamentally changing the relationship between humans and machines in the flow of work. It introduces time as a first-class dimension. It turns intelligence into a process, not an event. It lets an agent become more than a clever respondent. It lets it become a participant. And when an AI system can participate reliably, repeatedly, with memory, improving over time, you don't have to stretch very far to see why people call it a step. Not a finish line, a step. A step toward a world where the best work isn't done by humans alone or machines alone, but by teams in which humans set direction and agents sustain momentum day after day without forgetting what matters. That's the promise threaded through these 4 examples. Invoice follow-ups, sales outreach, sentiment analysis, adaptive intelligence. 4 different windows into the same future. An agent that keeps showing up, keeps learning, and keeps the story going. If you want one sentence to anchor this entire narrative, it's this. Deep Agent is moving from answering your questions to carrying your intentions on schedule with memory, so progress compounds even when you're not watching. And compounding progress, that's exactly what intelligence looks like when it starts to resemble agency. The agents are here, not the ones in sci-fi movies, the ones that compound progress daily while you focus on what only humans can do. The ones with memory, with schedules, with continuity, the ones that show up reliably, remember what matters, and keep the thread going. The question isn't whether this technology works. It does. The question is whether you'll be among the first movers who understand how to deploy it safely and effectively, or among those who watch from the sidelines, wondering what happened, or worse, among those who deployed it recklessly and paid the price. I'd love for you to hit subscribe so I can keep you ahead of these changes with both the opportunities and the risks clearly mapped out, because this isn't just another tech trend. This is the biggest shift in operational capability since we moved from paper to computers, and you're about to live through it. Let's embrace this age of agents and abundance together, but let's do it wisely with our eyes wide open. See you down the next rabbit hole. The
automatically going faster. Right now, we get to take control of our breathing. To keep our back straight, our eyes closed, and our legs crossed. The same way, we get to take control of our thoughts, our mind, at any time, which will then control our bodies and our feelings directly. That's how powerful you are. But you have to believe 100% in this power, this infinitely intelligent being within you and all of us. You got to believe with all your heart and soul that you can do something. If you don't believe in yourself, nothing else or nobody else will. We're all looking to you. We're all looking to each other to find out the truth of what is already in us. We hold the key, each and every one of us. It all starts with our power to believe 100% in who we really are. That's the greatest determination you can make. 100% believing in you, no matter what, no matter how many mistakes, how many so-called failures, losses, pain, suffering you've experienced. You get to learn from all of it. You get to realize the truth, that there is no such thing as failure. There is only fuel from our mistakes and our losses, which gets transformed, gets used to create our determination.